Welcome back to Whispers from God. Let me ask you something honestly. Why do you feel guilty when you rest? The moment you sit down, the moment you slow down, the moment you're not doing something, there's that voice. You should be working. You're wasting time. You're falling behind. And even when your body is tired, your mind won't let you rest. Because somewhere along the way, you started believing this lie. Your worth is equal to your productivity. That the more you do, the more valuable you are. That if you slow down, you're failing. That if you rest, you're being lazy. But listen carefully. That is not truth. That is pressure. And today we're going to break that. Because you were never designed to live like this. Let's start here. Modern life has redefined identity. You're no longer asked, "Who are you?" You're asked, "What do you do?" And that question slowly shapes everything. Your value becomes tied to your output. Your worth becomes tied to your results. Your identity becomes tied to your performance. And without realizing it, you become a machine, always producing, always moving, always proving, but your soul? Never designed for constant output. Your soul was designed for rhythm, and that rhythm includes rest. Let's go back to the beginning, Genesis, creation. God created everything in 6 days. Light, sky, land. What did he do? He rested. Not because he was tired, but because rest was part of the design. Think about that. The creator of the universe, who never gets exhausted, still chose rest. Why? Because rest is not weakness. Rest is completion. Rest is alignment. Rest is part of creation itself. And if God built rest into the foundation of existence, why are you trying to live without it? Here's where things shift. Most people see rest as a reward. I'll rest when I finish. I'll rest when I succeed. I'll rest when everything is done. But here's the truth. Everything will never be done. There will always be more work, more goals, more pressure. So if rest is something you earn, you will never truly experience it. But God didn't design rest as a reward. He designed it as a rhythm. Something you return to, again and again. Now, let's talk about something deeper. Because the real problem isn't your schedule, it's your mindset. You don't just struggle to rest physically, you struggle to rest mentally, even when you stop working. Your mind keeps going, thinking, planning, worrying, because you feel responsible for everything. And that's where burnout begins. Let me ask you this. What are you afraid will happen if you slow down? Will things fall apart? Will you lose progress? Will you miss opportunities? Or deeper than that? Are you afraid of feeling like you're not enough? Because for many people, rest feels uncomfortable. Not because they don't need it, but because it forces them to stop proving themselves. And that's where we need to confront the truth. You don't need to prove your worth. God already gave it to you before your work, before your success. Before your effort. You were already valuable. And when you understand that, everything changes. Because now, rest is no longer guilt. It becomes alignment. Now, let's talk about the voice inside your head, that voice that says, "You're falling behind. Others are doing more. You should be further by now." That voice gets louder when you rest, because rest exposes comparison. It exposes insecurity. It exposes the pressure you've been carrying. But here's the truth. You are not behind. You are human. And humans need rest. Now let's define something powerful. Holy stillness. This is not laziness. This is not avoidance. This is intentional rest. A space where you stop performing and start being present. Being aware. Being connected to God. Holy stillness is trust. It's saying, God, I don't have to control everything right now. I don't have to hold everything together. You are still working, even when I'm resting. And that's the hardest part. Trust, because rest requires trust. Trust that God can handle things without you. Trust that you are not the center of everything. Trust that your value is not decreasing when you slow down. Let me say this clearly. Rest is not weakness. Rest is worship, because when you rest, you are acknowledging that God is in control. You are surrendering your need to constantly produce. You are aligning with His design. Now pause for a moment. Think about your life right now. How often do you truly rest? Not scroll, not distract yourself, not escape, but rest, stillness, silence, peace. If that feels rare, that's not normal. That's a sign something is out of alignment. And that's exactly where we continue in part 2. Because now we're going to talk about how to break the guilt, how to build real rest, and how to create a life where peace is normal again. You were never meant to earn rest. You were designed to live from it. But now we face the real challenge, breaking the guilt. Because even when you understand rest is important, something inside you still resists it. That inner voice still whispers, you should be doing more. You can't stop now. You're wasting time. And that voice doesn't come from truth. It comes from conditioning. Let's talk about the guilt of unfinished tasks. There will always be something left undone, emails not answered, work not completed, plans not perfected, and your mind keeps reminding you of it. But here's the shift. You don't rest because everything is finished. You rest because you are not God. You are not responsible for holding the entire world together. And when you rest, you are acknowledging that. This is what we call holy boundaries. Boundaries are not selfish. They are spiritual. There you saying, this is where I stop. And God continues, because if you never stop, you start believing everything depends on you. And that belief leads to exhaustion. Now let's define something important. There's a difference between passive rest and restorative rest. Passive rest is scrolling, watching endlessly, distracting yourself. It numbs you, but it doesn't restore you. But restorative rest, that's different. That's intentional. That's when your soul actually recovers. Silence, prayer, stillness, being present. That's where your energy returns. Now let's talk about something practical. Because you don't just need understanding, you need structure. You need a sanctuary. A space where rest becomes real. Building your modern sanctuary, you don't need a perfect environment. You just need intention. Start small. Turn off notifications. Step away from screens. Create a quiet moment in your day. Even 10 to 15 minutes, no distractions, no pressure, just stillness. And in that space, you allow your soul to breathe again. Because here's what happens when you disconnect from noise. Your thoughts slow down, your body relaxes. Your spirit becomes aware again, and suddenly, peace doesn't feel so far away. Now let's go deeper. Rest is not just about stopping activity. It's about surrendering control, because even in stillness, your mind may still try to work, planning, worrying, thinking ahead. So in those moments, you gently return to this truth. God is in control, not me. And every time you repeat that, your mind softens. Now here's something powerful. A rested soul is stronger than a busy one. When you are rested, you think clearer. You respond better. You love deeper. You create more. Because your energy is not drained. Your mind is not scattered. Your heart is not overwhelmed. But when you are constantly running, everything suffers. Your clarity drops. Your patience shortens. Your peace disappears. And slowly, you become disconnected from yourself. That's why choosing rest is not just personal. It's spiritual resistance. You're resisting a culture that says, work more, do more, be more. And instead you're choosing, be still, trust more, live in peace. That's powerful. Now imagine your life like this. You wake up, not rushed. You move through your day, not overwhelmed. You rest without guilt. You trust without fear. Because you know something deeply. Your life is not sustained by your effort alone. It is sustained by God. Now let's bring this into your daily life. This week I want you to do something simple. Schedule rest. Not as an afterthought, but as a priority, even if it feels uncomfortable. Even if your mind resists. Because discipline is not just about working harder, it's also about resting intentionally. And when guilt shows up, don't fight it with force. Replace it with truth. I am allowed to rest. God designed me for this. My worth is not tied to my work. Say it again and again, until it becomes your belief. Let me speak directly to you now. You've been caring too much, trying to prove too much, trying to do everything right, but you're tired and deep down, you know it. So today, give yourself permission. Permission to stop. Permission to breathe. Permission to rest. Not because you earned it, but because God designed you for it. Because the truth is simple. You don't find strength in constant motion. You find strength in holy stillness. Thank you for spending this time with Whispers from God. If this message spoke to your heart, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this reminder today. And comment below, I choose rest without guilt. Because the moment you stop apologizing for rest is the moment your soul begins to heal.